Imagine two leaders saying the same exact sentence. One builds trust, the other one breeds resistance. Why? We all know that it's the tone that makes the music, right? It's not just what you say, it's how you say it, when you say it, and whether people believe you or not. This is the core of leadership communication. Welcome back to Leadership Insights. I'm Farosha Ashley. In today's video, we're going to look at what sets great communication apart and why your ability to lead is deeply tied to how you show up in your conversations. We'll break it down in a practical way so you can start applying these ideas today. So here's the problem with following the generic advice of clear communication. A lot of leadership advice will tell you that. Just be clear, be concise, be to the point. And yes, those things matter. I would never deny that. But they're not enough. In today's complex workplace, communication isn't just about clarity. It's about connection. And what that means is this: a lot more things come into play. You want to be able to read the room before you speak. You want to understand, what do other people need from your message? You want to be open to feedback, even when it's not always easy to receive it. And you want to be able to say what needs to be said without getting people to be super defensive about it. And this is where trust comes in. If people don't trust you, your message won't land. You cannot communicate effectively without first building a foundation of trust. Now, this is really, really important for anything having to do with a team, but particularly for your communication as a leader. And that means you will have to match your nonverbal communication with what you say. If there's a discrepancy between what you mean with your words and what you radiate or what you show on the outside, people are going to have a hard time really trusting you. You want to speak honestly, and especially when things are uncertain. People appreciate that about their leaders. You want to have the ability to listen deeply before you respond. You want to be able to say, I don't know, when it's really needed. And learn that credibility comes from being real, not from pretending everything's okay. So what are some practical shifts you can make for your leadership on a day-to-day basis? Number one, stop making it a broadcast and start making it a dialogue. And what I mean by that is, a lot of leaders treat communication as if it's some kind of performance, as if they have to go up on stage and they're delivering a speech. And what's really needed instead is having open conversations, two-way communication. The other thing that I see happen a lot is that leaders just can't stop fixing everybody's problems. You do not want to believe the amount of times I've heard leaders say, yeah, it's real busy because I'm putting out fires constantly. You're not a firefighter unless you're a leader in the fire department. But all jokes aside, you want to make sure that you don't jump into fixing problems before you really understand what's going on. So here's a practical way to do that. Instead of jumping to conclusions, start with asking one open-ended question. Just reflect back what you hear and ask one powerful question. Now that alone can shift the energy in the room because you're inviting people to think for themselves and you're giving them a signal that you trust them. You have them there on your team to do whatever you hired them to do. So make use of the talent and the knowledge that's already in the room. The third thing is, don't assume to know, but follow up with what you notice. A lot of times we think we already see the big picture, and especially if we're leaders and we've been on it for a long time and we think we know our people, we know exactly how this person thinks or exactly how this is going to go. I know how this person is, I know how they think, I know how this was done the last time, but please be curious. What I want to encourage you to do on this one is to be curious about the emotions behind the words. So you want to notice tensions, you want to notice hesitation or when the energy shifts. And that is actually where the real work begins. Try to find out what's behind the message before you think you got the message. I'll give you a real life example. One of my clients had two teams and they were constantly clashing with each other. And what we discovered is there wasn't a lack of skill, there wasn't a lack of knowledge, or even sharing procedures or other stuff that usually could be up. But it was really about one thing. It was about interpretation. They all had different filters, and they rarely ever took the opportunity to see each other's perspective. People were constantly misunderstanding and misreading each other's intentions, and it brought a lot of tensions. I had to focus on the leader. And as we were working, we included some exercises where he learned to pause, where he learned to reflect back what was said. I cannot tell you how important it is. Summarizing is an extremely important and connective skill. So we worked a lot on that. And we also worked on him asking clarifying questions before responding. Once he managed to introduce those steps, it made a huge difference, and it had a real impact on the team dynamics, on the way meetings were held, even on the way people approached each other. It turns out he was fueling the disconnect because continuously he was forgetting to double check, to verify, and in doing so, he forgot to build trust. As a matter of fact, his behavior was actually an accelerator for the mistrust that there was between his teams. Now, what's important to understand about all this kind of communication doesn't take more time. This is a mistake I hear a lot of leaders make, and it's like a thinking error. It creates time, or in different words, it saves you time. Because if you can work from a place of clarity and trust, this is going to allow you to move faster. This is going to give you the window of time that you're looking for in a schedule that no doubt is already really tight. So please look at this as an investment. So I have some final takeaways for you. Leadership communication isn't about following a script. It's a practice. And because it's a practice, it means it's going to take time to develop. It's a practice to learn to build trust. Like I said before, it's an investment. But think about all the things that it can give you, what the return on investment can be. It's a tool that can help you reduce friction. It's going to help people to build better connections and therefore find each other in a better way. And it's ultimately going to lead you to be able to move people forward, move closer to goals, and do it together. So I want you to try this in your next conversation. Pause before you speak. And in that little bit of time that you give yourself, ask yourself this: what does this person, my conversation partner, need to hear? And what do they need to feel in order to hear it? That one question and that one action might make a world of difference. Let me know in the comments what your biggest communication challenge is, and if you want more hands-on tools or approaches on this topic. See you next time. Remember, lead with your heart and keep on growing.